Hello, and welcome back to part 2 of our left-handed mobile paint party experience. We are painting a PlayStation remote control. Before our break, we had painted our remote control with the base layer of gray. We painted our white background with a base layer of white, and we have a shadow underneath our remote control. Before we jump back into this painting, just take a couple of seconds to adjust your painting if needed. You want to go ahead and make sure that if you want to touch up your white background, you can touch that up. Make sure you touch up those different darker details on our remote control if need be, as well as add a shadow to your PlayStation remote control as well. Make sure you have all the supplies that you need. We are working with those same 6 colors. We are working with those same 2 paintbrushes. So what we're going to do next is we are getting ready to take our painting further. What we're going to do is we're going to start adding some different details and outlines to our painting. So this painting is a pretty simple painting for the most part, so we don't want to take it and make it too complicated. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump back into painting using our average size paintbrush. So we're going to be using this paintbrush again as we jump back into the painting, and we're going to be utilizing our black paint. So with that black paint, we are going to take that paint and we're going to give our PlayStation remote control those outlines. And one of the awesome things about these pre-plotted mobile paint party experiences are that these are plotted out with Sharpie marker, and Sharpie marker bleeds through paint. So we can still see a lot of our original outlining if we look closely. So we're going to use that as a bit of a cheat method, and we're going to add the outlines of our PlayStation remote control with our average paintbrush and black paint. So every time I grab some black paint, I'm just going to smooth both sides out into my paint, and I'm going to utilize that to sharpen my paintbrush. So I'm going to go ahead and begin filling in the outlines to my painting by simply just following the outlines that are available on my canvas. So I am utilizing these outlines. I am outlining my canvas. I'm going to take my time and do this. Feel free to pause the video if you need to. I can do this just a little bit faster simply because I have a lot more practice. So the directional pad buttons, I'm going to be painting in black fully, just so that we can see the difference between the directional pad arrows as well as the background of the actual remote control. Creates diversity, which will create some contrast, which ultimately just makes the painting look a little bit better. So I'm going to continue that. I'm going to take my time with this. I have a select button on one side. The other side, I have my pause button. I have my menu pad. So, outlining those. Bottom of the remote control, trying to keep these lines as straight as I possibly can. Notice the focus as I try my best to be true to these lines as much as possible. Partially outlining the joysticks. Then we have that secondary circle on the inside. Then we have the joystick D-pads, secondary and third line on the insides. Then if you want, you can add an outline to the outside of the D-pad, as well as an outline to these buttons on the side. Now, these buttons on the side are a little tricky with this paintbrush, so we can be careful painting these with the fronts of our brushes, like so, by creating those outlines. Just taking our time, we can create those circles, or we can flip our paintbrushes around and use the backside of our paintbrushes to get this done. So if I flip this around to the backside of my paintbrush and dip that into paint, I can also utilize that to make the circles on my buttons. Now that takes a little bit longer. It's an option that you have that I wanted to show you. Like I said, it takes just a bit longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue utilizing the front of my paintbrush. After I have that, the last thing I'm going to do is do an outline on the PlayStation actual button, and then utilize the back of the paintbrush again to make the speaker holes. 4 on the top, 3 underneath, and then I put 2 more underneath that. So we have those, and now from here, if we want to add any additional black details and lines just to give it some detail, more fine detail, it's up to you. From here, I'm going to pause on the black paint. I'm going to rinse my paintbrush off in water and get those bristles nice and clean. With clean bristles, I can add more detail. So we are working our way towards finishing this painting. Now, although this video may be only less than a half hour long, again, this is a mobile paint party experience. You can pause these paintings. You can take more additional time with these paintings and add different things if you like. But from here is where we want to go ahead and finesse our painting. So I'm finessing my painting with final details, such as adding extra color to complete this remote control. So I mixed together the color blue and yellow to mix up green to paint the remote control buttons. For the triangle, green. Rinsing my paintbrush off again. I'm going to paint, although they're not the exact color of red, I'm going to paint my square and my circle with red paint. Just rinsed off my brush. Now be real careful to get these details in there so that they make sense and so that you can actually see what they're supposed to be. And again, of course, painting a circle within a circle is always going to be tricky. So take your time with that. And then as far as this last button on the PlayStation remote control, I'm going to rinse off my brush again. I'm going to go ahead and paint the X, the last button, with blue paint. And that's real noticeable. That's going to make a vast difference in the remote control. Rinsing my paintbrush off again. And I'm going to go ahead and add some white detail to my PlayStation remote control, just to give it a little bit of a pop. So these different little details that I'm encouraging you all to add just make your painting overall just a lot better. Makes it a lot more in-depth, a lot more detailed. It allows for more fun painting. But at the end of the day, if you like your painting where it is, you don't have to add different details. You don't have to do every single thing that I'm doing up here on my PlayStation remote. You can go ahead and make it your own. You can even add other colors that we haven't talked about in this video. Think about adding some red to your remote and customizing it a little bit. You can mix up new colors. You can mix up yellow and red to make orange. You can mix up, as I mentioned before, yellow and blue to create green, red and white to create pink. All different types of colors to add to your painting and make it your very own. So I got some light detail on my PlayStation remote control. Add just a little bit more. I don't want to add too much because that's just going to start taking away from the detail that's already in my remote. I want to keep this simple to an extent. But however, you can make yours as complex and detail-oriented as you want over on your end. As we work our way towards the end, I'm just going to add some final flair to my painting. And what I mean by that is doing different things just to kind of add to it, just to kind of make it pop. So the PlayStation logo colors are red, yellow, green, and blue. Colors that I've already used. Basically, the colors on the inside of the buttons on the right side of the remote control. So I'm just going to take a second, mix up just a little bit more green for my painting by adding just some more yellow to some blue. So yellow and blue make green. And I'm going to use this color first. And then I'm just going to add some light detail to my painting. So I'm just adding different details to my painting at this point just to continue to make it my own. So I'm literally freestyling at this point as we work towards the end of this painting. Now, for these steps, you don't have to do this if you're not liking this. This is more of just an abstract feel that I'm adding to my painting. But you don't have to do this. I'm going to go ahead and add these little paint strokes randomly. I'm going to switch up the color. Rinsing off my paintbrush. I'm going to go in here with the next color, which is red. I'm going to take that red color and I'm going to add some hints of red as well to my painting. Just quick little brush strokes just to add to it. This is simply just to add a bit of a different flair to my painting. Again, we don't have to make the painting this exact color. So adding this, switching up my color again because I got to make room for my blue and my yellow. And we'll go with blue first. That blue is more of a lighter blue versus a royal blue. So if you want, you can add a little bit of white to your blue or just a teeny bit of blue to your white. Mix up that lighter blue. So now we get that lighter blue, almost more like a sky blue, even closer to a cerulean blue. I'm gonna go ahead and add that on in there. And again, I am adding these in random spots. And this is just gonna provide some pop to my painting. And again, if you don't like how this is looking, you don't have to do this. This is your painting. I want you to take your own creative liberties with this painting. If you wanna add some different details, different little elements, then you can go ahead and do that as well. The final color that I'm going to add is yellow, which should bring it all together. And then from there, I'm going to sign my name and call this painting quits. So I'm going to take some yellow paint, add it to other areas where no paint is currently in. These are, again, the PlayStation remote control logo colors, as well as the buttons on the actual controller itself. So these are just adding some different flair. So for this next step, you do not have to do this step. However, I'm going to add just those PlayStation buttons to the remote control again, except in a bigger fashion. So I'm going to take some black paint, and I know I'm going a little fast. So again, if you need to rewind this video, feel free to rewind this video. Feel free to pause this video. The choice is completely up to you. But again, I'm going to just add some final flair before I sign my name by adding those symbols on the remote control right to the above area of my canvas. So I have a triangle, I have a square, I have a circle, and then I have a X. And of course, you can switch that format up as much as you like. You don't have to do that if you don't want to at all. I'm going to simply initial my painting, and that's going to be it. So this is the PlayStation 4 or 5 remote control. This is meant for custom order for those of you who really like the game, those of you who may have the PlayStation 5, and add a little bit more flair. Go ahead and hang this painting up wherever you like around the house, in your room, wherever that may be, near your game system to show that memory. But that's all I have for you today. So I hope you enjoyed painting with me, and I hope to paint with you again very soon.